I have a confession to make. I still eat fish on Fridays, even outside of Lent. Friday, for me, is fish day. However, I don't think that I'm alone. In fact, I suspect that many of you attending this liturgy do the same. Admit it, no meat on Friday was the law, and we still obey the law, even though there is no longer a law. Habits are hard to break, aren't they? However, I can tell you that I'm not stuck in the past, and I'm not yearning for the good old days. But honestly, today's readings offered us halfway during Lent have brought me a little bit of nostalgia. After receiving the Ten Commandments, Moses is instructing the people on their consistency to follow the law. And he makes 3 points. First, they have an obligation to understand the law and follow it carefully so that they will live. Second, their faithfulness must be a witness to others of the law's wisdom and intelligence. And third, don't let these guidelines slip from our memory. Take responsibility to teach them to our children and our children's children. Understanding the law, be a witness of it, and pass on the tradition. To be honest, looking back, I don't remember our obligations being that much of a burden, but more as just what you did as a Catholic. In fact, often, like no meat on Friday, was a witness to non-Catholics. So many of these traditions and expectations, in many ways, simply defined who I was. Bob goes to confession on Saturday. He goes to Mass on Sunday. He doesn't eat meat on Friday. He wears a medal around his neck. He listens to the Pope. He says the Rosary. He fasts and abstains when it's required. Bob is a Roman Catholic. There is some melancholy in realizing that many of these practices and rules may be gone, but they had their value and they certainly formed my faith. We certainly see that Jesus had respect for the law. He did not come to abolish it, but to fulfill it. But my thought is, once he has fulfilled it, what next? I think one of the consequences is change. Letting go of things so that they can get better. In other words, simply stated, growing up, I defined my faith by the rules that governed my life. And many people defined their faith by the rules. But sadly, when the rules ended, they had nothing to hold on to help define them. No rules, no faith. But Christ refocused the rules. Instead of the 10 commandments, Jesus teaches the greatest commandment. And he pushes us to be even more. He tells us to, yes, love our neighbor, but love our enemy. And love ourselves. Forgive others so that others will be forgiven. Be fed with the Eucharist and care for the needy and the poor. In other words, live out our faith in action. And Pope Francis clearly has affirmed that during this year of mercy. There's one law for Pope Francis: be merciful as you wish people to be merciful to you. Serve and not be served. And these laws of the New Testament are really as challenging as the commandments of the Old Testament. And they actually call us to more responsibility. The obligation to understand the call of Christ and follow him carefully, to be a witness in our daily life, and to pass on the faith to future generations. And you know, we really don't have to reject the laws of the past. We can truly appreciate them. So, if I go out to lunch on Friday, I'm having fish.